From the Yonkers Statesman, November 25, 1916. Headline: Tax Burden in Yonkers. At the monthly meeting of the Nepperhan Heights Improvement Association last night, the principal speaker was Elijah M. Yerkes, president of the Yonkers Municipal Research Bureau. He said in part, quote, Yonkers has had a large increase in population, its large manufactories have done well, its transit facilities are the best, or at least were so until the late trolley strike, and it has a large waterfront. The future of this city ought to be, and I think is, most promising. But there may or may not be something significant in the figures of this city's growth. From 1880 to 1890, there was a 70% growth. The increase from 1890 to 1900 was 47%, and from 1900 to 1910, 66%. But from 1910 to 1915, the growth was only about 15%, or an average of about 3% a year. In other words, when Yonkers should have had its greatest ratio of increase, it actually had its smallest. Mr. Yerkes showed the increase in the money raised by taxes in the last 10 years has been at the rate of 180%. The figures, he said, do not include the deficiency caused by the setting aside of the assessments against the New York City aqueduct, for which bonds were raised to the extent of $400,000 and $500,000. He gave the following as the figures of the per capita tax in Yonkers. 1906, $15.30 per capita. 1916, $30.76. Then he took up the Water Bureau. We have heard a good deal about money being wasted in the Water Bureau, he said. We made an investigation and found that money was being spent as a drunken sailor would spend it on his first shore leave after years at sea. We discovered that the average cost per lineal foot for laying water mains in Yonkers was $3.51 against an average in New York City of 61 cents. The total cost for work in Yonkers last year was $101,607, which would be done in New York for $19,712. We understand that the superintendent of the Water Bureau said recently that we were in error in our figures, that we were 5 cents too low in our estimating. He stated that in Peekskill the cost was about 25 cents per foot for these mains. We think we have shown where $100,000 can be saved every year, and we have just scratched the surface. Headline: The Electoral College. The attacks on the Electoral College are bearing fruit. A move is to be made in Congress to bring about a direct popular vote for the presidency, and yet it seems the irony of fate that the college should be turned down in the term of a university professor. Headline: Teutons press Romanians. Von Mackensen forces passage of the Danube and has footing in Romania. The Entente advance in Macedonia is halted. Headline: Masquerade Ball. The Masquerade Ball, held under the auspices of the United German Societies of Yonkers in Philipsburg Hall last evening, was a brilliant success both socially and financially. The ball was held for the purpose of raising funds for the aid of war sufferers of Germany, Austro-Hungary, and of the allies of the Central Powers, and also for the purpose of relieving sufferers in Ireland. Headline: Armenian and Syrian Relief. The receipts of the American Committee for Armenian and Syrian Relief have reached $2 million, which has been applied to the relief of approximately 2 million pitiably destitute Armenians, Syrians, and Assyrian Christians. And that's the news from Yonkers 100 years ago today.